Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of The Fad Show. So on this week's episode, I'm going to be installing a Black Forest Industries heavyweight shift knob on my MK7 Golf All-Track. I'm going to give a detailed how to install this. I actually managed to install it without damaging the original equipment. I'm going to compare the weight to the OEM shift knob, and then I'm going to give my initial thoughts and impressions on what I think of it after driving around for a few days with it. There are plenty of how-tos out there on installing these. The one thing I'll say is the method I used to do it, I didn't actually have to damage any of the original equipment. I actually have all of the plastic clips and everything that are necessary to go back to stock if I desire at a later date still here. So with that, let's get to it. Alright, so to remove the factory shift boot, there's like two clips on the front here you have to push forward, and then it just kind of pops up. Might be easier to show once I get this on the bench, but these are the two clips here. And it's kind of unfortunate that this car has like 45,000 miles on it, and this is already torn, this boot here. Anyways, the next step is to get this off, which I've seen a bunch of people do it different ways, using a screwdriver to try and expand it, and then also people have cut it. I think I'm gonna try the screwdriver and try and expand it method to be a little bit more gentle on it, and then if that doesn't work, then I'll cut it. Well, perhaps you should wear safety glasses while doing this, because that shot off and hit me right next to my eye. Appears to be loose now. So I didn't see this on any other how-to that I saw, but once I got this loose, mine did not just slide off like all the other videos. I actually had to use my little screwdriver and kind of pry these back, and then eventually it just popped off, but it was taking way more force than I was comfortable with trying to get this off. But everything's off now, so we'll go to the bench. Now, in an attempt not to break mine, these little plastic clips here have to be pulled back to release this center shaft to get the old shift knob out. So what I'm going to do, if you are replacing your boot, I guess you can just go ahead and cut these and destroy it. I'm going to use a heat gun to try and heat these up and just bend the plastic back, because I'm going to end up more or less reusing them. There's a zip tie that will hold this on. But yeah, I'm gonna try not to break them, use some heat to loosen these up, and then... So I use the directional attachment on my heat gun so I can try and just heat the plastic without getting the leather. And I'm gonna use the low setting on it. Just add a little bit of heat and then do some prying. So I have multiple pocket screwdrivers jammed in here. I'm hoping when I release this third one, I guess there's four of them. Well, I'm hoping when I release these next two, it will come out. So I ended up using a pair of vice grips with a microfiber to hold this collar while I pulled on the shift knob. And I finally got it apart, and I'm happy to say that I didn't break any of the plastic. So yay, that's a big win in my book. So while I have this apart, I'm just gonna go ahead and clean and condition it, because there's probably no better time than now to really get the leather everywhere. So I'm gonna clean it, and then I'm gonna get some leather conditioner and put some of that on here. So hopefully this will last a long time to come. Honestly, it might be crazy, but I'm gonna do the inside too. I don't even know if this is real leather or not, but if it is, this will help. Just help keep it moisturized. All right, just for fun, let's compare the weight of the two shift knobs. So we'll go with the stock Volkswagen Golf shift knob. And I'm going to do it in grams because that's my preferred unit system, 116 grams. And now let's go with the BFI one. Keep in mind, it doesn't have the coin, whatever that's worth. And 214, so almost 100 grams more than stock. Not really sure what that means, but nevertheless. All right, so I'll go ahead and try and do the zip tie application now. I think I have this ready to go. All right, and then keep in mind that these two clips here are for the front, and then for me, I'm gonna put the seam of the ball or whatever in the front. You should be able to turn it still once you get it in there, but so you're not having to wrestle it around a ton. And then this is gonna be fun because you need to have enough room to still get the screws on, but then also you don't want the seam to be showing. You should be able to fold it back onto itself, so I'm not too worried. I'd rather almost have more than less because I really don't want that seam to show through. But then also you need to have room for it to expand and contract. And since this is going to be metal on metal contact where it used to be plastic on metal, I'm going to put a little bit of silicone lubricant on here. Just a tiny bit. Just to lube up the shaft a little bit. Never want it dry. Apologize, this has been a family show up until this point. Actually, no, it hasn't. All right, there we go. Looks like the screws already have a little bit of blue Loctite on them, but I'm gonna put a little bit more just so they don't back out in the car. It's important to get everything clocked where you want it. Make sure it's down as far as it will go. Except now, of course, I put lubricant on it, so. All right. I think everything's centered about where I want it, so I'll go ahead and put those extra screws in. And before you tighten them too tight, one more check to make sure everything is how you want it. For me, I'd say so. It's not going to turn at all. Still get the reverse detent. All right, and then the last step is going to be to install the coin. I'm going to use a little alcohol to clean this off. All right, so I didn't show it on camera, but I wiped it off with some isopropyl alcohol just so there's no oil there. So this will stick better, ideally, if they did and they weren't familiar with Volkswagens. So now just trying to line this up perfectly for my OCD. And then sweet. I'm pretty happy with that. Looks good. So my initial impressions are, I mean, it doesn't feel too much different than stock. It's about the same size. It's just kind of a little bit odd initially that the top is flat here. But I don't really notice the heavier weight too much. It actually feels pretty much exactly like stock. And the color I match is, I don't know how well you can see it on video, but it's, try and get that close to the seat as possible. It's actually a lot closer than I thought it was going to be. Everyone in the forums said that it wasn't even, like, it was going to look bad or not even remotely close, but I think it's pretty damn good match. Probably about like 95%. I'm not crazy about how this is a little bit crinkled here, but overall, like, overall, I'd say pretty happy with it. I'm gonna drive it for a few days and then I'll give my final or whatever initial thoughts and opinions on it more than just this. So now that I've been driving the car around for a few days, I just wanted to give you guys my thoughts and opinions of how I feel about the shift knob. So after I finished the install, I actually posted a picture of it to the Volkswagen Alltrack owners group on Facebook, and there was a lot of interaction with the post. It got over 120 likes, so I thought that was kind of cool. And then also I just want to touch on some of the stuff that was being commented on there as far as people's concerns, because maybe you might have some similar ones. But overall, I'm very happy with it so far. I will say, like, when I drove it the first time, I thought it was a little bit weird. I kind of had like that flat top where the coin goes, but I got used to it within a day, and the overall quality of it feels much better than the OEM shift knob, in my opinion. It actually makes the entire car feel like more upscale to me personally. Some of the concerns that people had in the group were the color match with my Morockish interior. So the Nova Brown apparently is an Audi color. So, I mean, I think the color match is pretty much spot on. It's about 95%. It's not that far off that I think it clashes or looks bad at all, and probably no one will ever be able to tell except for yourself that it is a slightly different color. Other things that people are commenting on, which is the price. It is kind of expensive at $169.99 for a shift knob, and then if you get the 6-speed pattern coin like I did, it's like another $12.99. So that's a lot of money to spend on a shift knob, but the quality is definitely there to match the price. I mean, when you think of the fact that it's machined from a solid piece of stock, that's not cheap, and then also the machining time is also not cheap. And then it's high quality leather. I think it might actually be the OEM Audi leather. I'm not 100% sure. So I did compare the weight in the video. So if weight reduction is your 100% ultimate goal, it's probably not the shift knob for you. This does add about 100 grams compared to the stock OEM Golf shift knob. So yeah, I'm very happy with it. And as for someone that has owned over 20 something manual cars, I will actually rank it among my top 3. My number 1 favorite shift knob is kind of the Halo BMW one, the CHP shift knob. So that's my number 1. That's actually the one I have in my E39M5. And then number 2 for me was, I actually had it in an Acura TSX, but it was also the S2000 shift knob. And I actually think there's a lot of similarities between this and that one and the Black Forest Industry one, where it's half leather, half like machined aluminum. Like that machined aluminum just gives you like a lot more high quality feel in the hand. It's kind of nice having the leather to do a little bit of insulation from the heat. So yeah, that would be my number 2. And then number 3 would be this one. The only reason I put that at number 2 is just for me, I kind of like smaller. This is a little bit bigger. But yeah, so those are my top 3s. As far as the weight, I didn't really notice any difference when I was shifting. The shifting motion more or less felt the same. It kept the same geometry as far as the length of shift. I'll say the one concern I have with it going forward is just going to be the thermal properties of it. Today I went for a bike ride. I drove my Alltrack to the trailhead. So I left the car in the sun for about an hour and a half. Didn't put my sunshade on. When I got back in, it was pretty hot. It was about 90 degrees here today, and the car sat in the sun for like an hour and a half. And even on the leather part, like heat was radiating through it. I mean, it cooled off after like a minute, but that might be something, if that concerns you, if you live somewhere where it gets really hot or really cold. And when I had my Acura TSX, it was when I lived up north, and I definitely noticed the same thing in the wintertime. So I hope you guys like this video. It's pretty easy DIY. If you follow my method, you can leave all your parts intact, so you can revert back to stock if you desire. I don't think you're going to want to do that. I think you're going to be very happy with it. So thank you for watching. If you really liked it, as always, please like, comment, and subscribe. And stay tuned for next time. Thank you guys. Bye.